any thoughts on Mockingjay Part 2, the epic finale?
Um, well, like I said, I had watched this. Hold on, real quick, AJ. Let me
Mm-hmm.
talk to my nephew real quick.
Yeah.
Go in the room. Making too much noise. I'm sorry, bro.
You good. You good, bro.
A open spot to be on GODBODY reactions.
I'm blessed, blessed to live this life. Why you?
So yeah, I'm gonna preface this by saying this is not a movie review. We're just gonna give a few little tidbits of our thoughts on the film and the franchise, and so yeah, and then afterwards we're gonna give our rankings, and we're gonna start with the Hunger Games, the very first one. So basically, the Hunger Games is about a utopian society where it broken up into 13 districts. The whole thing is called Panem, and it's ran by the capital. And the capital are just the rich, and they live in their best life, and everybody around it are worse off, poverty stricken like that. So, and every year they hold an event called the Hunger Games where they choose two children from each district to battle it out and fight to the death. And I just felt like this film just it really inspired hopelessness. It was like very hopeless. And back when I watched it and when I was a kid, like nobody could tell me nothing about Hunger Games. I loved it. Nothing was better than Hunger Games. But now that I'm watching it as I'm older, it's just like kind of uh, kids killing kids. Yikes! Battling to the death.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
it was kind of rough. I think I kind of had to experience life a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And to piggyback off you said, if you don't mind,
Mm-hmm.
it was really dark. Like I said, we were around the same age, and I kind of looked at it as like a typical hero movie. Someone's down, depressed, someone uprises and saves the day. I wasn't aware that there was gonna be this huge story arc and so many obstacles, but it was dark. It was like you said, kids killing kids and being pitted against kids, and you don't understand that until you get older and you look at it like, wow, this was like they were in a depression, like like a
Yeah,
cult like mentality almost.
yeah, yeah. Big
Yeah.
facts. Um, so yeah, that was basically the first film. And we get introduced to this character, the main character, Katniss Everdeen, and she actually doesn't even get chosen. She volunteers for her sister,
Good point.
and that was like just a huge bold move. And that right there was like the very first time we saw her step up and kind of be this hero figure, which is like she inspires so many people toward throughout this franchise. But so the next one is Catching Fire, and this one they do have the Hunger Games again. Katniss and Peeta, they are the victors of last year's Hunger Games, and they have to go back into it this Hunger Games, and it's kind of like a Hunger Games All Stars. They chose different victors from different years, so it's like all kind of different age groups. So that's one thing that I thought was interesting.
And
Go ahead.
and I and like we were talking about before this, I just imagine surviving. It was only one winner in the Hunger Games a year. Only Katniss and Peeta tied one time. So imagine
Mm-hmm.
surviving through this as a kid, as a teenager, and you thought that it was over with, and now you have to come right back in the mix into the Hunger
Years
Games.
later.
That's devastating.
Yeah, it is. But also I felt like some of those people was ready. Like you could tell on their faces, like some of them was ready. And they was built, and I was like, wow, like
Yeah,
they really ready to go back in
yeah,
there. But yeah, I definitely feel your point. Like it was like that's something that's traumatizing and something to go back into that.
Yeah,
yo, that has to be crazy.
and
But,
you know what else is crazy? Not to get too much into it.
Yeah.
But both of them, Katniss and Peter, volunteered.
Yeah.
From the first and they both. So imagine that, like you volunteered not because you wanted to, but because you felt like you had to.
Had to, right?
That adds another layer onto it. Like
it does. Crazy stuff. But Catching Fire, it was similar to the first one, but it had some differences, and I appreciated those differences. It was more kind of a strategic type film than just straight, going to the Hunger Games and fighting it out. I feel like, and it was the first film to really inspire hope for the rest of the franchise, and kind of like strategy to take down the Capitol and President Snow.
mm-hmm.
So moving on to Mockingjay Part 1, bro, super boring. Like, and I say that because it just wasn't a whole lot, right? Exactly. It just wasn't a whole lot going on. It was mainly just prepping Katniss to become the Mockingjay, the symbol of peace, and it just wasn't a lot of action going on. Not a whole lot of strategy being talked about. It was strategy as far as inspiring these the districts to rebel against the Capitol. Yeah, it was more of a snooze fest. Any thoughts on Mockingjay Part 1 from you?
I think Hunger Games to me is very boring, and this is the epitome of it. Like, this is, if you want to prove a point on why Hunger Games was boring, you play this movie.
Yeah.
To me, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a slow burn for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And by boring, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad movie. That
Right.
doesn't mean I think the whole franchise didn't have good things. I just felt like you said, it was slow, and to me, it was very boring.
I actually, when I went to go see this film, Mockingjay Part 1, I fell asleep twice in the theater. and I don't usually do that.
No, you
when
don't.
I watch movies. When I watch movies in the theaters, I don't usually fall asleep. But if it's like real slow, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna watch it, but
yeah.
This one was the lesser of the other films. Now, getting into Mockingjay Part 2, action packed, totally different than Part 1. And it kind of was a continuation, but it was more execution, I felt like, of them infiltrating the Capitol and catching President Snow and the obstacles that the Capitol put in front of them so they couldn't, get to, infiltrate the Capitol. So it was just like a lot of that, a lot of the obstacles that they put in the games. What are your thoughts on Mockingjay Part 2? The epic finale.
For the door. One more time. I'm sorry.
What are your thoughts on Mockingjay? What are your thoughts on Mockingjay Part 2, the epic finale?
Honestly, this is where toward the end, obviously the action picked up. My first initial thoughts when I watched it, I didn't really know what I watched. Now, I watched it a couple of years ago, but it was just like a lot going on,
It was.
It wasn't really decisive to me, It was just it was a lot going on. But I went back and kind of recapped it. I didn't watch the movie again like you did, but I went back and kind of recapped it. And the first thing that stood out to me is the irony in this whole movie, and in this specific movie, like Prim dying is the first thing that stood out to me. Because
that was crazy.
This is her whole reason of doing the Hunger Games in the first place.
Yeah.
And for the ending to end with her sister dying, to me, that's real life, kind of.
Yeah. It came full circle. It came full circle.
It's full circle.
Like you can't escape what's destined for you. Bro. Bro.
Exactly though. And
that's deep.
very, very, and you can't though. That's the reality of it. You can't. And
Yeah.
the thing about it is that it's a lot of times. And I don't know if you want to dig into it right now or you.
That's cool. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Do you, man?
It's a lot of times in movies where characters do good things. Good characters do good things, and bad characters do bad things. And you expect good characters to do the good things. And at the end of the movie, when they do questionable things or bad things, it's never really explained. It's always kind of like, I don't know, like a bad, like a tough guy type of character, like Wolverine or someone of that nature. See, but this made sense to me because Katniss' sister dies by the rebellion, so it only makes sense that she kills the lady that was in charge of the new rebellion.
Yeah,
and
President Coin.
What's her name?
President Coin.
President Coin. And at the time, I'm like, well, geez, that wasn't the right thing to do. You're supposed to kill Snow. Well,
right.
It just, if I'm making sense, it just allows you to understand why she was the rebel and why she was chosen in the first place.
Right. And it proves that fact.
Yes.
Because after she did do that, Haymitch came to her and was like, "You never seem to disappoint." It's like,
exactly.
That's what she does. Like, she is the shock and awe factor.
Yeah, and it's always based off of her feeling and decision, though. Even when she was in the Hunger Games. Remember when she I can't remember which one it was, but it was like the trials. I think it was the second one, Catching Fire, and it was like the trials. And instead of building a weapon, she like took a shot at the people behind.
The people watching. Yeah. And that was the first one, and like she shot an apple. Yeah. And that just explains like what she does. Like, she always takes that extra rebellious step. Right. And that's just her personality, and that's why she was chosen, basically.
Yeah.
To be the Mockingjay. So now we're gonna give our rankings. I guess I'm gonna start first. Number one, I'm gonna say Catching Fire. It inspired hope. The next one, Mockingjay Part 2, had the most action, and it was an epic finale. Hunger Games is the one that started it all. And then Mockingjay Part 1, it's kind of a snooze fest. How about you? What was your ranking, man?
I'm gonna rank it. See, I don't have notes or anything. AJ's cheating, y'all. I don't.
I'm not cheating.
I don't have notes.
I'm prepared.
Yo, you're very prepared. You're very prepared. Number one for me is the original Hunger Games.
Very first one.
The very first one. What year? 2012?
I think it was earlier than that. 2012. You're right. 2012.
2012?
Yep.
And when I watched it, just really brief, like, this was one of my favorite movies at the time. It was different. It had a desolate look to it, just production-wise. And this was something interesting that was like Hunger Games. Like, that was crazy. Just the name. Like, and I would have loved to see it spin off and focus on the actual Hunger Games. I would have, when I pictured a sequel, that's what I pictured. More Hunger Games. It more focused on the character, but the movie in itself, to me, is the best of the franchise, in my opinion. I would have to go back and watch them, but I would have to say the second one would be Catching Fire. I think that did the best job of epitomizing Hunger Games. You had the actual Hunger Games, and you had a political side to them as well. And I think that was the direction that they were trying to go, to where it wasn't so boring, but it wasn't action packed. And to me, that kind of met the medium.
It was a nice balance.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. My third one would have to be the Mockingjay Part 2. and it's very fluid with that and Catching Fire. I think the shock factor of Mockingjay 2 kind of puts it a little higher. But again, it Catching Fire takes it from me right now, but the Mockingjay, they're right there neck and neck, especially with how it ended. I'm a fan of how it ended. I feel like it ended realistically. And finally, it's if you want to go to sleep, you're tired, and you just want a good nap, put in Mockingjay Part 1, and that's last on my list.
Okay, all right. Favorite character and least favorite character. Go.
My favorite character would probably have to be Peter, or those two would probably have to be two of my favorite characters. I also like what's the lady, the real vibrant lady with the hair and stuff.
Effie.
I liked her. I liked her.
Yeah, she was good. She was funny. She added some comic relief.
Exactly. But if I had to pick up, I like Homage because of the story. He was just like, hey, I survived the Hunger Games. Hey, like, get drunk. Hey, don't do this. You know, type of guy. But I feel like if I was in the Hunger Games, I would be Peter. So that's why I kind of flocked to Peter. That would be my favorite.
Kind of relate to that character.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
My least favorite character of the Hunger Games, Plutarch. Plutarch was probably my least favorite character, and I can't even really give you a good description. I just know he came in Catching Fire, right?
Yes. Because he was a game maker. In the first game maker, Snow killed him. So yeah.
And I know that I liked him in the role. I liked him in that sinister villain role. And soon as he switched, I was like, I don't like this guy. I don't know why. I can't really explain to you. As soon as he turned, I was like, I'm not feeling this guy anymore.
Did you think he was still like on the bad side, or it's just because like
I felt like at that point he was irrelevant. You know, like I felt like at that point he was just irrelevant.
You want to talk about irrelevant? Let's talk about Gale, bro. He was like the most irrelevant character in the whole franchise, and he was like kind of trying to push his way into the forefront, and he just like he tried to be Katniss's man, and it did not work. she got eyes for Peter, bro. Like, come on, man.
She liked him at first.
Barely. But she did. Like, she grew up with him. So, like, that. But once she met Peter, he was on the back burner for the rest of the franchise.
True.
Even into the end, like, they didn't even give him a good ending. Like, I can't even remember what the ending was for him. And I watched the movie today. So, it was just, like, he was such a back burner character. And then they tried to, like, make him be kind of in the forefront while Peter was getting brainwashed or whatever, but it still didn't work. So needless to say, that might be my least favorite character. That's a good transition.
Right. That's a great transition.
But I don't know, like either him or President Coin. I think I didn't really care for her as a villain. Like, even though like she was kind of revealed as a villain towards the very, very end, I didn't really care for her character, period. Even because she was kind of dry, very forgettable. Like I feel like a good villain or a good character even has a strong personality or something to make them remember you by. And her character wasn't very memorable. I forgot about her character completely before I rewatched the series. So I'm like, if you want a good villain or a good character, you got to have something that you remember them by.
Absolutely.
And then so I'm gonna go favorite character. I kind of did it opposite of you. I'm gonna do favorite character. I'm gonna say Katniss. I know that's probably the most basic answer for that, but Katniss, she inspired hope. She had so many layers to her character.
Absolutely.
And you know, she was a kid and she had all this responsibility, and that's just like crazy to think about all the responsibility that she had as a kid, and you know, kind of just growing up in this. So I don't know. I go Katniss. And I wanted to a little bit, just very little, just want to talk about Mahershala Ali, like that they got him before he like made it real big. Like they are really lucky that they got him. And he was in Luke Cage as Cottonmouth. So he's been racking up those roles, and he's blowing up.
I seen him in a Taraji movie.
Oh yeah, Hidden Figures.
Yeah. Dude can act, man. He give you like a old school Harlem type of dude, like feel, but at the same time, he's versatile enough to play like you want him in a bad guy role or some type of hero action role, but he's versatile to be like a charmer and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he's a talented dude, man.
Again, I appreciate you being on the show, on the channel, man.
No problem.
Thank you for taking time out of your day. And we had so many technical difficulties, so many different videos that we had to snip together to make this possible, but it was worth it, man. And hope to have you on the channel again soon, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. It's been a blast, like you said, technical difficulties, but it's part of it. Hey, baby, y'all make sure y'all follow GODBODY Reactions after y'all done watching AJ Reacts too, man. Come on down. Me and Bob Mon, we gonna give y'all a good time, man. Thanks for having me.
Bob Montois.
Bob Montois. Shout out Bob Mon.
Yeah, later, bro.
All right, man.
An open spot to be on GODBODY Reactions.
I'm blessed to live this life. Why you?
Oh man, I'm sitting on the ledge of this couch and my cheeks are starting to hurt.